Beloved, this is the Culture and Camaraderie podcast, the most thought-provoking, introspective, industrious, creative discussion with my guy Tiberius.
Yes.
This is NY Typical, along with LAX_ERA.
It's the guy.
I was waiting for you to go in.
Oh no, you was just taking time to even say your own name, fam.
I said NY Typical straight up.
No,
fam.
you didn't, fam.
No, because I was waiting for
should we pause it and listen to it back?
I thought we were gonna bounce. No, wait. Did
I'm joking, bro. I'm joking.
No,
See, how are you losing track of what I just said? Anyway, yeah, I'm good, man.
Witty repartee. Big ping.
Hit up Lax Era for all your production needs.
Yeah, see? You just flopped my flow, bruh.
I had to fill you in. Don't blame me for your flow, alright?
No, you flopped my flow.
You're your own man, boy.
Man.
Yeah, man. What you been saying this week? Any interesting news?
There's nothing else to say.
Do you know what? First, I wanna plug something. I'm sorry, I got to come in straight with a plug. Straight off the bat, before you guys press that exit button, I need you to listen to this. So, 28th of November, me and the Sounds of Suede crew have a event going off at the King's Head Members Club on the 28th of November, in Dalston. So please come through. Crazy lineup. We got everyone from Apollinaire, Comicamo, myself, Lolash. We've got a host of other guests. It's going to be a very, 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 very crazy, cool event. So please come through. Yeah, Tate Imogen's performing. Bakari. Loads of other DJs, So please come through. Tickets are in my link on my bio. So I'd love to see you there. But I just wanted to do that quickly. Drip.
Car passed. That's amazing.
Yeah, I can't wait, man. Really excited to go. It's not first event, but this launch is going to be a cool one.
I feel like I'm angled wrong.
Really?
Yeah, I really didn't put too much stock in the fact that I'm facing this way and you're over there.
Yeah.
But now I do.
Do you wanna?
Yeah.
Wait.
Yeah, fam. After that slight adjustment, I'm really out here being myself. You know
Yeah.
Big pen been in the streets. If you didn't know, I'm tired, but I'm also in a silly mood today.
Good.
So
Best moods to be in.
Hopefully, this will be one of the more entertaining podcasts.
We shall see. Let it be what it be.
Unless we totally hit a serious point, and then I'm gonna have to get serious.
And it's just gonna happen, isn't it?
Good gracious.
Like that. Yeah, man. Crazy cool. Yeah, a lot going on at the moment.
Yeah.
A lot going on.
My year technically ended with that event, even though I'm going to either, let's see what happens. I'm not putting any promises out there, but yeah, man, my book comes out on the 20th of this month. So yeah, pre-order my book if you haven't already.
It's on the way.
Yeah, my book's it's still like the one thing that I haven't done in the most efficient way is promote my book. Like that's like the one thing. Like it's not that even that I feel bad about it. It's like I didn't really make the book for promotional purposes. Like there can be other books for that. This book was really it was meant to be like a footnote or like a bookmark for understanding.
It's more for documenting, would you say?
Yeah, it's like something that needed to happen, but you know, as a manager or as any person, like I just feel like there's just that one part of me that's like, if you're gonna have a book, like at least promote it properly, or even do all the things you know that you need to do, because there'll be people that say shit like what do people say again? I forgot what people say. People say stuff like oh, you don't need all of this, you don't need radio, you don't need newspapers. You just need to you know, blah 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 blah. But end of the day, that like when you're new, when you're up and coming, those are really great outlets.
Mhm. No, 100%.
Like my following, or I should say, the way that I've grown a base up until this point isn't public centric. It's more intracentric. So it's like other people that are artists, and I only just learnt that's like a bad model to have. Like you shouldn't really be artist facing.
Really, why not? What do you mean? And what do you mean by artist facing?
So like the people that I cared, I should say, to speak to and all whatnots is like just artists and stuff, innit? You know what I mean?
Oh, so okay. That's
So-
interesting. What
so
do you
yeah,
mean?
like-
Do you mean with regards to your personal work specifically,
Oh,
or just in
no.
general?
Like well, here's my thing. It's like my personal work is me as an artist, so everything that I do is like me centric. So it's about me or from me or of me. So it doesn't have to do with me pleasing an audience, and that's the way it's gonna stay. But when I talk about artist centric or artist friendly, I mean like the people that I follow are artists, quote unquote, or people that are doing business. Like they're not the general public, and like cause I noticed that artists don't talk to me about my work. They talk to me about what I've done around my work.
I remember you said, yeah, person that's in the chat. Okay.
Yeah.
So okay, because to them, do you think that's partially because to them, that's the part that they've already got down, or that's the part that they not necessarily got down. That's the part that they already know and have their own perspective and opinion on. But what they've also seen, the other side of what they've seen you done well, is how you've gone about putting that out there, which is the stuff that they may not feel as much to grips with.
Oh no.
And the stuff that they that
like
that interests them.
I'm not really trying to understand it. I'm trying to alleviate myself of all of that. Like that's to me that's just long.
Wait, alleviate yourself of all of that. What just
like it's just like trying to figure that out is just long. Like that's just long. Like really and truly, I don't know whether it's worth my time. Like, because if I find out the answer, what am I gonna?
What is it gonna do with
that
it?
knowledge? Like, I've been that type of person a lot. Like recently, at least, like just figuring out why people do what they do and being able to educate other people on that fact. But that isn't to say that knowledge isn't like, like that's not general knowledge. That's like psychometrics, psychoanalytics. That's all the psychos. Like that's just understanding
all the
people.
psychos?
That's just me understanding people and me like flexing that muscle of understanding people. And that's kind of where I started. Cause like with all the books, like even that book on top of the stack about behaviorism, it's like it's just everything that I did, isn't it? It's like understanding people, like understanding my behavior at first, and like that's like 4 years ago now. Understanding my behavior, how my behavior affects my performance, and me just continuing to understand like how I act so that I can perform at my best. That's like that's the main reason why like I understood or decided I was going to understand psychology in the first place. Like there's a lot of people that do personal development and stuff like that and like just read self-help books, but I was like,
but they're all like I don't want to use the term watered down, but they're all derived from psychological principles.
Yeah,
there's like
so it's someone's perspective on an idea.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there we go.
And not even just an idea. Like when you go deeper, because it is quite watered down. It's like all the great things that have happened in psychology are in like doctor books. Like I prefer buying like the £100 book to understand what it is about psychology than the £12 book from the author who just took a bunch of resources from
That they
all
knew
over
they
the
could
area
sell and they knew would be sellable.
over this one psychological topic. Like that's like, yeah, because I realized that like 3 years ago, like after I read like over 100 books or whatnot, like I was like, as I kept reading and reading, it was like these topics aren't like I needed more juice for the squeeze basically. So I just like learned psychology, and that was like a fun escapade. That was a fun year, and like not psychology as a whole. Like I wouldn't say that I'm a professional at even understanding psychology.
What specifics was you looking
Just
at? Just
behavior, how people
behavioral
act.
psychology.
Yeah, behavior and performance. Like just in that, like trying like helping people get to like, because obviously back then I thought I could help everyone. So
what kind of books did you
just like
pick up?
I was listening to bare lectures and
Oh, you was or you wasn't?
I was
Oh, okay.
going to unis,
Have you got
lectures, all of that stuff. Like I was really in it. Like yeah, because that to me, like all of that educational stuff is fun. Like that's like I just feel like anything that I'm doing right now is just like it's part of education. So in my mind right now, everything that I do has to do with educating another party and entertaining another party, because this type of format that we're using is entertainment, but using it for educational purposes. And I don't know, man, like I don't know why people would listen to me, but you know, some may do, some may not, but yeah, it's fun to do this at this present moment in time.
So what would you say some like key things that you've come across, or key, whether that be books or lectures that you like, that sort of were the foundation of this approach, that, well, not the foundation of this approach, but you found most useful, aside taking away all the like the other personal development watered down quotation mark stuff, but what yeah, no, it is but you know what I mean.
It's not psychology.
What is the stuff what's the stuff that you found foundational? What is the more foundational things of psychology that you came across that spoke to these principles?
Like obviously I've got B.F. Skinner, like under his tutelage, Maxwell Maltz, he's also a good guy. Like that's also a personal development book. Like he's also got a personal development book, Psycho-Cybernetics.
I've heard about that.
That's actually a book on performance and and self-imaging. So like because you know how I said, like, I forget what episode it is now, like we've got 18 of these but I like when I look at myself in the mirror, I see a handsome, young, athletic man. But when people look at me, they see something different. And there was obviously a distance between that. Obviously, like I don't know whether people find me handsome, but I know there's a general understanding that my looks can be considered good. So that's like, or depending on who you are, and depending on what you're looking for in another person or a man to think they're attractive. So yeah, but my personal self-imaging, like I see myself as muscular, other people see myself as skinny, like understanding I understood later, 2 years down the line or 3 years down the line, the disparity between what I think of myself and what other people think of myself. And then I realized that other people look at themselves, like, you know how you can have body dysmorphia and like think you're fat, like even though you've like lost a tremendous amount of weight or whatnot, like that type of stuff. Like, and me, my self-imaging has always been awesome. whereas like other people's hasn't.
Mm.
And I constantly speak to myself, right? Like, and I speak to myself in an affirming way, like we spoke about before, and but I also speak to myself in a critical way. So I've got the two. I'm like, I understand. Look, you're a good person. You're not bad. You just need to learn some things. And then I go through that critical analysis and stuff. Like I constantly, like, I really break down every single psychological pass of something that I deem to be bad within myself, and then I try and figure out why I do that, understand the history of that, and then I bring it back to present day and say, okay, this is why I do this. This is what I should be doing instead. But that's about self-imaging. Like, that's a little tangent. But really, like,
yeah, because to bring it back, yeah, and you'd say this is something that psycho-cybernetics.
It's good for that, but like, really and truly, you need like either a doctor to help you through, or just like learn through the books that I learned. Learn through the like thesis that I read or stuff like that. Like, you can't. You can change your self-image, but you need help, or you just need to understand self-imaging, or like. But a lot of people aren't gonna go through that learning process of understanding what is self-image and how to change it. It's like, it's the basic principle is like when you're a smoker, you change from being a smoker
to seeing yourself as
to seeing yourself like as someone that goes to the gym or something. So you see smoke. You have to see smoking as deplorable, unhealthy, terrible. Like there's a good topic. So like you know how like when people find religion or something, and they look at all the people that they were friends with, and then like they're really heavily critical of those friends that they were with before.
Oh yeah, okay.
So they look at their old life and be like, wow, that's terrible. That's disgusting. And then they try and change.
Or not even necessarily that bad, but you just see them as
those
worse.
People look at their old life as disgusting, and it's like what Kanye is doing now. It's like he just sees his old life and like making like just having Sharon Kim's image so like fervently, just like permeating throughout the whole culture, and then now he's like, oh, I don't want her to be naked, I don't want her to be as revealing as now, and like, you know, that's how different self-imaging goes, like, and that's like the psychological switch. And one that is not a psychological thing, right, or a psychology thing that I learned straight from psychology, is understanding my negative talk. So you have to, like, I've taught this to about 2 or 3 people, but or I told it to 2 or 3 people. I don't know whether they utilize it, but basically, close your eyes, you relax yourself, and then you imagine all your negative talk as a massive ball, like, well, as big as it is. So if you speak negative to yourself, like, bear, if you're just like calling yourself a dick, like, oh man, I'm so rubbish at this, I'm so rubbish at that, I can't do this, people look at me as that, like, all of that stuff, you like, just like, I personally imagine it as a ball. You can imagine anything that you want, but like, depending on how much you do of it, depends on how big it is in scale to you. And then I look at my positive talk.
So what, you imagine it as like as an actual being?
Yeah, you can.
That's
you
what
have
you
to
do.
imagine. Yeah, it's part of a psychology thing, but I didn't learn it from psychology. So like, you imagine that negative talk as a like, you can not a physical essence. You can have it as a physical essence. Like, psychologists will tell you to like draw it out. What does this thing look like in your mind? And
it's essentially separating that whole thing from just your identity as an individual. It's the essential essence of it.
And then the secondary thing that I do is I imagine my positive talk. So my negative talk, like, let's say you've been doing it for 20 years or 30 years or whatnot, that isn't going to change. That's 30 years worth of negative talk, and this little tiny seed is your positive talk. So now you can't change that massive negative talk because that's your history. But what you can do is transmute it into positive talk. So you can't change that, but you can put your energy into the positive. So like, you know, when they do those tests, or like when they talk to flowers, or like so you speak that positive talk into growth, and then you make it bigger. Like, I imagine it like a sun. So you keep speaking to your little sun in your heart. Well, I call it hope, but you keep speaking like the I feel would the emotion be called hope? I don't know, but like my hope is that it grows. My hope for better, my hope for change, my hope for greater things grows, and it has to. And you have to get to a point where you outsize that positive one of the negative one. So it's work. So you have to work for the positive, and then you have to then you start catching yourself thinking negative, and then you have to change it.
I think it was important for you to say, though, it's like having a doctor and someone there to sort of help you through the process to a certain extent, and just doing your best to sort of educate yourself on it for yourself, because when you can't see anything else other than that, it's like me, I'm the worst for it. My negative self-talk is just wild. Yeah, and ever since, I think the first time I ever really noticed it consciously was when I was in uni. That's when I started reading loads of like books, like self-help books and stuff like that. I was like, because I started questioning, like, am I just depressed? And then for the following years after that, it was kind of like, it seemed like all I had to do was do the things, was almost in my head, it was like, read these books, do all these things that kind of challenge myself, and make and always sort of strive to make myself better. But the funny thing is, and a big problem, like from when I was through uni, even afterwards, the biggest problem that I had was the whole thing of following through on all the things that I wanted to do, and I never completed. I was great at starting. I had all these mad ideas and things like that, but where this negative self-talk would get in the way, and in a sort of subtle and inconspicuous way, because what I would do is I would make it a thing of, it's like we had this conversation before. One big fear I always had was being delusional about things. Yeah. And what I had done is I'd changed that negative self-talk into something that was the gauge for whether or not I was moving in the right direction, doing the right thing, taking the right action steps. And so instead of me being able to identify it and go, no, that's negative self-talk or whatever, it became a thing that I thought that I needed. Like, without it, I was going to be,
You're gonna be kidding yourself.
I'm gonna be kidding myself. I'm gonna end up, I'm gonna wake up in like 5 years' time and be in this place where I'm like, what the hell was I doing? What did I think I was doing? But in reverse, I've kind of unknowingly moved in a way that I've veered away from all the things that I would have been proud to have completed by now because of that negative self-talk. Okay. You know what I mean? So but it's interesting because
Say that again, please.
I veered away from a lot of the things before I got a chance to fully complete or realize certain things. Yeah. I veered away from them before I've got to complete them because of the way I've talked to myself. Yeah. Because I've seen this thing as a necessity as opposed to something that's not actually who I am. And it's interesting because only now I've actually, in the past, it's funny because I went on this like meditation retreat, and I would say it was before, it was because that was kind of like the most intense bit of meditation I've done. Before that I'd been meditating and stuff. Yeah. But was
that the silent one?
Yeah. And I'd think it was sort of after that I'd really started to realize like how to separate and it's not necessarily that was the thing, like a whoa, like my life completely changed, but it was from that point I actually could get a sense and a feel for how to go, oh, wait a minute, the things that I'm thinking aren't me, if that makes sense. Like the thoughts that come into my head, these bad thoughts aren't necessarily me. And it's once you separate, like there's a thing that happens when you realize that you go, oh wow, and it's almost as if the feeling that you're feeling having that thought kind of almost immediately disperses. It's not that it goes when you feel like great all of a sudden, but it's like you go, oh wait a minute, that was just my head doing bits, you know? And
like
it's crazy. It's crazy.
A bit like, cause
it's crazy.
With me, like that happened. I can't say that it's past because like you're always gonna have that, but it's squashing that and destroying that, like literally destroying it. Like I mean that in the most honest way. You have to destroy it. You have to like know that that's an evil part of your, like that's just a part of your mind that is gonna exist because of how humans have been evolved, and you know, blah blah blah, like all of that. You need to survive stuff, but when it's like with me, it's like always been what other people are gonna think about me. Like it's never been what I think of myself. Like everything I've thought about myself has been positive. It's like, but when it's like, oh, what does society think about me? How are people even looking at me? Like I thought, I was probably even going around life with rose-colored glasses until like even this year, just thinking everything was cool. You know, I'm running around. I'm doing like I'm helping other people, thinking I'm helping other people at least, and then doing
what you're it's like how you see yourself is just completely incongruent with the way you're being treated in the world, and it's
and like and like a lot of scenario, like because before I would come up with scenarios in my mind, like, and this is like the creative part of my mind, so I would think of all these ways in which things can happen and possibly will happen, or what another person would be thinking of me a lot, like just bit like I would just think so much about, damn, this person must think of me like and like but that may possibly not ever be the case.
Exactly.
Until like you actually ask that person.
Yeah, it's a fact.
So it's like I had to be like, yo, you're just thinking. You're remember, you're a script writer, you're creative, you come up with these scenarios, you make a world in your mind.
That's crazy.
Because that's what you do as a job. So you gotta get out, because there's that, and then there's being schizophrenic. So the world in your mind becomes reality, and that's when people have psychotic breaks.
Well, it's like neurosis. It's like they say neurosis becomes psychosis, isn't it?
Like right now, at least back then, it's like my mind is elastic. I can do bare things with it. I can stretch it. I can move it, and like I can think of a lot of those negative things, and it'll be fine. But like when your mind starts like stiffening up and like understanding its perspective of the world, you can destroy that. Like it becomes like glass. It becomes not brittle, but like you know, like non-Newtonian fluid. No. Okay, you know, like freshers, like refreshers. Those little gummy
sweets,
that like they're soft when you move them, like slowly, and like hard when you hit them.
Okay, yeah.
So like it can be like that. So when you move it slowly, when you massage it, when you like meditate or whatnot, like you do it daily, you can really, really like figure out, okay, this is this and that is that when you're older, right? But if you like really try and shift your mind faster and harder than it can be, it's like you can pull a muscle in your mind and become schizophrenic. You can go crazy, and like this is like when all of these celebrities like go to hospital, they get institutionalized, all of these things, right? So
what you'd say that's because what they're doing is the life that they thought who they thought they were, and it's like, so hard being a celebrity because you've got this thing, not just what you think you should be, but you're getting this image of yourself imposed upon you as well. And you kind of like that because you're seeing how everyone's wanting you to be that thing.
Exactly.
So you embody that, but then you slowly start to realize as you grow and change, you don't want to be that. Like, it's not necessarily that you don't want to be that, but that's not you. It's not necessarily who you are. It might be an aspect of what you are because of your talents and how you relate to people who also do that, or what you speak about, but it's not the entirety of who you are.
Yeah,
and when you're
about this,
expected
like,
to, it's crazy.
Yeah, think about this. It's like when you think a lot of people love you, right?
Yeah.
And like you know, you got that one negative person that comes down and you start dwelling on that one negative person and whatnot. But let's say you have a bunch of people that love you, and then suddenly this whole group becomes death threats. And like celebrity, you know how celebrities get death threats and stuff, like, so you have 100, like when it comes to like cancelling a celebrity or whatnot, you got like hundreds and hundreds of people saying you should die, you're terrible, you're all of this, and like you can handle that one person in your mind. But imagine you have this image of yourself thinking you're a good person, you're honest, you're God-fearing, you're whatever it is, whatever the positives are, and then this massive wave of negativity comes and smashes all the windows in your house. That is what a psychotic break is like, almost. So it's like just understanding that, and like being like understanding your self-image can be malleable, but you have to slowly massage it and slowly like keep like, because this is like a mental age, like we're not really going to wars of ideas rather than wars of like physical strength. So it has to be mental strength that everybody has to have, or like at least everybody that follows your ideals has to have, and all of that stuff. So the generals are gonna be like the influencers, and you know the sergeant majors are gonna be all of the people that are politicians.
It's about no shortcuts, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, I don't know what that means.
Well, okay. That was probably need to explain. Well, I feel like because in the past, and the reason why it's like it's the stuff like why the, and this is just completely opinion on just the way I look at how history and the way the world is now in context of what you just said, and what it's going to take in moving forward, just within industry and society and culture. Like, it's been a lot about, oh wait 2 seconds, just putting the time on so we can see how much time we are at. Oh yeah,
okay,
bloody hell.
Good.
Oh, but we also got to remember we done that bit at the beginning.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, like when the sort of like when industries were emerging, like in the sort of latter half of the 20.
So this is your personal perspective.
Yeah. This just okay. Like if I just think about it, just the way that I look at it, as sort of industries and technology has emerged over the last like 40-50 years, and how that's changed. Like it's been a case of as capitalism became a thing where it was and it is solely about making money, but there's this thing embedded of it was just making shortcuts, doing shortcuts to make as much money as possible, and put in the ethics and the heart and soul of what you might be creating, who you're creating it for, to the side, just to sort of advance in a corporate environment. Things like the crash happening, and all these, and the way these things are within, because I don't see capitalism as bad. It's just at the heart of what it's like. Anything you do, you can either do it in a bad way, you can do it in a good way, and the way that a lot of people, especially people who are very left leaning, see capitalism as hell, as this terrible thing that needs to be destroyed, and it's like a very big narrative that's going around today.
That's totally different.
Yeah,
like,
well,
yeah.
You know what I mean, like that's why I say
like
like far left leaning. Yeah,
like,
and
yeah,
I
feel like
yeah,
that's a different perspective.
Yeah, I feel like,
because I'm hella left leaning, and I like,
yeah, no, I would say I'm left leaning as well, but it's I feel like it's just a case of, even when it comes to the individual, because just going on from what we was talking about before, like the individual process of you can go through life thinking in terms of, I just need to get from this point to this point and everything will be okay. Because I'm thinking of this more in a philosophical sense, not even in a political or corporate sense. I'm talking about it just more in a philosophical sense.
Okay. Adam Smith things, if you know, you know.
Yeah. I don't. But
Godfather of cabinet.
Yeah.
Carry on. Forefather of cabinet.
I just think in life, and with anything we do, there's always, we can take the shortest route, and we sacrifice, or we take the route that will give us the most meaning, regardless of how hard it may be. And I think because of how, as we say, we live in a time of luxury, how much we live in a time of luxury, I think the biggest battle is going to be how, as a society, we sort of overcome the things that hold us down as individuals within ourselves, the sort of internal struggles, and how, as a society, we have the tools to do that.
I got massive on just a general, like, cause like my mind's on that. It's like growing and expanding and stuff. So it's really hard to like. It's like because when I was a kid and stuff, and when I say kid, I mean like 22, 20s, 21 and stuff. I realized that everybody was like you remember Coney 2012 and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That was like when I really realized that everybody was taking a political stance so early.
So weird, yeah.
And like I was like, everybody's like doing politics, like just really caning it off and just like creating an idea in their mind of what things should be really early on without understanding everything as a whole, right? And then like I don't know, I just felt that was really destructive, like just being like taking a stance super duper early. So I took to understanding everything first and then start creating political stances, or then start creating like, because that's how I see it. It's like I have a philosophical stance and I have like an economic stance. So there's two great powers in this world, isn't it? It's like influence and money. So you can really have a high influence and you can have a high money, and like you can like basically change the dynamic of the world and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
That goes into like that's a essay that I recently wrote actually, but I haven't published it at all. I'll publish it soon. But so I've decided I was gonna create my philosophical stance. I was like, what is my personal philosophy? So I had to understand psychology, then I had to understand economics, and like I had to understand science and future sciences, so tech and all of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I made sure that I understood, okay, what's the landscape, what's the and then forecast what's gonna be around, and then who am I, and then I had to figure that out. And it's like I'm deep into my 20s and I haven't really done much economically.
Mm-hmm.
So like right now I'm doing stuff economically, but this is like the first year that I've really like took, not even a whole year, because I only started like thinking about my economics about in June or stuff.
What do you mean actually studying it, or your own personal economics?
Like making economics, so like money, like actually making money.
Economics.
Like how am I going to earn my money? How am I going to earn my place in this society? How am I going to help my community with the money that I can make? Because it's all about being a speaker and stuff like that, but there's another great influence, or there's another great power in the world, and it's called money, right? So that's why I say, and it's like you have to understand your philosophical stance first, and that's your influence, that's your word, that's how you carry yourself. Like, are you gonna be like, what's part of your foundation? Is it it's like, because you can't have politics part of your foundation. First of all, you like, it has to be something real tangible, like it's, and then people politicize religion and all of that stuff, but that's another conversation. But is religion part of your foundation? Is that part of your philosophy? And you know, religion can't be your whole philosophy, so you have to
Mm.
figure out all of these other places at, and like how you're gonna approach like other people. So you have to figure that out. Is it gonna be aggressive, or are you gonna be like forceful and stuff like that? And like how are you gonna work through your religion and stuff?
Mm.
That's influence. That's your word. That's your philosophy. And then I understood. Damn, this is my serious. And then I had to like figure out. Well, not even figure out. Like I figured it out like, when I was learning economics and like how the world works around money, which is a lot of what people don't understand. And then you have to figure out, okay, my influence or my power of my word and my philosophy is quite high, it's quite stable. Okay, what's my power and my money? How can I create my money? How can I create a stable income for myself so that I can be self-sustaining? Because a lot of what you want to do is be self-sustaining, and not talking about, oh, so you can have whatever politics that you want and blah blah blah, but you really just want to be able to live, have a comfortable life, and like not break psychologically because you can't stand yourself economically. Because if you can't stand yourself economically, that means you're constantly stressed, you're constantly at battle with yourself. You keep figuring out. It's like a lot of guys, when they're like uncomfortable with their woman making more money than them, or uncomfortable with other people making more money than them, or their friends making more money than them, and all of that stuff, it's like they don't understand economics and like how the value system actually works. And that's just that's part of like my psychological roots going back, but it's understanding what is your economics and how are you going to create influence, how are you going to continue to give the system more value so that the people can promote your value so that you can continually give back.
So the long game as opposed
to
to the short game, would you say?
No, I'm playing the long game on economics, but you can play the short game. You can 100%.
You can still do that. It's just as important.
Go for, I'm gonna make as much money as I can first, and then I'm gonna figure out who I am later, which is what a lot of people do. They figure out, oh, I want to be this type of person in society, because you know, a lot, like there's many people who try to get to the top of the company, or try and sell as much as they can, as much products as they can, or try and create a massive service so that a lot of people can use it and like sell that off and stuff. But and like just people make companies so that they can sell it, so that they can be comfortable, and then they figure out what they want to do with themselves. And that is a route you can take, but I didn't want to be doing all of that stuff into my 40s, and like being well into my 40s not understanding who I am as a person. And that's just part of and that's why I started my economic journey later, because I needed to understand the two great powers, which is influence and money. Influence and money, because then I can create, okay, what is my philosophy around money, and then it's like, okay, now I can think about, oh, so what's my philosophy around taxes and all of that stuff, and then I figure out, oh, I want to be making this amount because I need to be able to do this, and I want to create this many jobs, so I need to make this amount of money so that I can have those jobs. So I have to add value within myself so that I can put the value outwards. And understanding, okay, you can sell your services, but are you ready to sell your services? Do you have the right tools at your disposal to sell those type of services now? And yeah, that's just a massive part of a lot of the things that I'm thinking about right now when it comes to just the landscape. But that's so that is so like, that is so deep, and that is so like, it's so much, and it's like, outside of that, I'm more so the type of person that wants to just create more things. And obviously being an artist is really hard to create, and it's really like, it's just trash. Like it's not a great economic factor. So you have to, your influence has to precede you. And a lot of people put their...
when you talk about influence, are you talking about fame, or are you talking about from a different sort of angle.
Influence, like it can be broken down into many different categories. But
So
it's
when
influence.
okay, so what do you mean when you speak of influence?
What do I mean?
Yeah, what do you like when you say? Because when you say
my philosophy
economically, we understand what you mean, but when you say influence,
my philosophy and how I interact with other people.
Mm.
So who am I as a person? Will I cheat on my wife? Okay, so if I decide that I cheat on my girl, let's say not even my wife, but just on a normal basis, if I cheat on my girl, or if I'm just
like that's part of you don't see anything wrong with that.
Yeah, if I'm just a cheater, then I'm gonna be hanging around cheaters, so that's my circle. If I'm gonna be one of those people that is really detrimental to the black community or just black women as a specific factor, then okay, so I don't deem black women beautiful, so then I'm part of this part of community, and that's going to be part of my influence on the community. And this is how people are going to perceive me because of that. So understanding both sides, understanding the cause and the reaction and all of that stuff. So what I'm at, and then like as a black man, my existence is politicized, so I have to step out of that and really understand me as a human being first. So who am I as a person before I start saying, or before I start speaking, and how much do I understand the ramifications of me doing this with the skin that I'm walking in. So I have to fully understand all of those things first, so that when I speak to society, or when I have a podcast and I'm speaking, it's like I understand exactly what I'm doing to the world by speaking these things. So it's that and your influence, it can be your immediate circle. It's like when I was saying, I think it was on episode 10 or 9 or something, it was like are you a valued member in your community? Do you know your neighbors' names? Like, are you like nice to them? Are they nice to you? What type of relationship do you have with them? Do they feel joy when they look at you? Because when your neighbor sees you, that's going to affect their day and your day. So what type of thing are you putting out into this world? And you gotta fully realize that and understand that and say, okay, what I'm doing here is either good or bad, or I don't care about what other people think, and that's part of your philosophy. So whether people think this or think that, then you don't give a toss, you're just gonna do it anyways. And that is part of your philosophy, and you don't care about the ramifications of your actions, so you're gonna be acting in that certain type of way, and your influence and the way that you're perceived, and everything you put out into there is gonna be an I don't care attitude. So yeah, that's like just a little bit of understanding influence in general.
All right. Okay, sick. Next topic. Do you want to talk about finding your tribe? I think that's a good little little segue.
Yeah. So
what made you post that? What made you post that?
Yeah, because that's about influence again, innit? It's like it's about understanding. Okay, so this is the type of person I am, right? Okay, so who am I bringing around me and stuff? Like what type of wealth am I adding to
the people around me?
Yeah. So, and like because I wrote starting from the top down as well. So it's like, do I want people to work for me? Like how much work am I willing to do as a person, so that I'm acting in the certain type of way that I care about, right? So let me see if I can put that in a more simple way, because like I'm really in a deep mode right now. I didn't know this was gonna happen.
Yeah, no, I was literally thinking the same thing.
Damn.
Earlier.
Wait, let me try and break this down, like simply.
Layman's.
Yeah, so yeah, you know what I mean. Like, I'm using my speaker voice. Being like, just be like, so if I'm myself, right, and I'm See, I can't even do it. I'm really trying to like just be simple. But I like when I get my philosophical.
No, it's cool. It's cool.
It hits.
We'll make it work.
All right, so I'm me. I like this the amount of work that I want to put in. This the type of performance that I want to do. Right. So, do I want people to work for me? Do I want people to pull my weight around for me? So starting from the bottom up. So having people do work so that you don't have to do work, right? Or starting from the top down. So you're doing all the work, but you want someone beside you to be like, okay, I'm gonna do this, this, and this. Like you can do it. You can do whatever they're doing yourself, but they're greater at that thing. So you make sure you have them do that, and you focus on what you're great at, and you're working in partnership. You're working in tandem and everything, and like that's when you're starting from the top down. So that's like, and when you start building like that, or like when you just have that mindset of that's part of your philosophy, then that's the type of people you're gonna bring around you. So it's either, because I know the type of person I am, and it's like I was a charismatic leader before I was anywhere near philosophical or anywhere near stoic to what I am now. So I could have had people just working for me. I was able to draw people in, and like before I was able to find talent, I was able to draw people in. So I had to figure that out. Like I had to make sure that I was just like doing my job right. So instead of even learning how to find talent, I just said, yo, calm down, figure this out, figure out your speech, understand who you are, and does your performance even matter? I don't even know why I thought that, like, because I could have had bare people working for me early on, but I just thought to myself, does my performance match
what I expect of people?
What I expect of myself.
Or what you expect of yourself.
Like, because I've just always heard this thing where if someone can do that, then I can do that. So I've had that kind of understanding. It's like, oh, if someone's doing that, then I can do it. If I look at someone and say, okay, so this person has this, that, and that aspect of themselves, right? And they're doing this job. So that means that, yeah, if they can do that, and I have those same aspects with it myself, then I can do that as well, right? And that's just like one of those things that, you know, a good 10% of society has that, whereas it's like, oh, if that person's great at this and that, and you can see yourself in them, then, you know, you feel you can do it. But there's this other part is like, am I the greatest at this thing that I'm helping out, that I'm doing and stuff, like, and I had to say to myself, I need to perform at the highest level of this. Like, I don't know why I cared about that. I really don't. But I just had to be to myself and just be like, yo, I want you to be the best. Like, I wanted myself to be the best. I wanted myself to be able to break down every aspect of a job, so that when I give it to someone, it's like, I can do that. I can do this job better than you, but I'm giving you the reins so that you can lead in this job. So like, and like being okay with, and that's like being okay with giving power to someone as well, because it's understanding that you're giving away responsibility, and responsibility is influence, right? So that's just the way that I just see.
But is that also part of that philosophy, I guess, if regardless of what happens to said person, or if person isn't able to fulfill that role, it's not even with the expectation of that, but the contingency of, regardless of what happens, I'm able to do said thing until someone is able to do that. Like it's the essence of, because look, obviously, as the things that you do get bigger, or not even necessarily that you do it, but you know, regardless of what happens, what needs to be done in that, whether that be you need someone to fill that spot, you need to guide someone into that spot, you need to you know exactly what you're looking for when replacing that position or getting that position filled? Like you just know what needs to be done for that.
Like I've just been a part of the process. I don't know whether it's any of those things, but I've just been a massive part of the process. I've always cared about the process. I've always cared about pipeline methodology. I've always tried to care about automation when I learned about that and stuff. So I really cared about each job being done to the best of my ability, because just in me understanding, if a job is being done to its best of the ability, then I can sell it to the best of my ability, because I know this work is being done in the best way possible,
and you can feel confident of what you're given.
Yeah, so if it's like my performance is high, I can talk anyway about that, because my performance is high. The whatever my business is doing is great. It's just that just subtle care, like that care that's being put into everything that I'm doing, or not even just everything that I'm doing, just like things that are being done around me. So I care about the things that are happening, and then it's like, even if I can do that job better, it's like, it doesn't matter. Like me being able to do something better, it doesn't matter at all. It's whether or not I can trust somebody, and then whether or not that job can be done outside of me. And because I want to be a producer of jobs, I have to be able to be comfortable early on, even from the beginning, to be able to say, okay, I can trust this person to do that. And that's part of everything that I do. So it's like me being able to trust my friend to like back me, or being able to trust my family to back me, or just care that I'm doing this and I'm doing that, and like I know, and everybody knows what I'm doing, so that we're confident. So when I leave my house, I'm confident. So I'm like, if I'm because I realize that it can't just be you. Like, well, this is just my personal philosophy. It can't just be me.
What do you mean? Like,
it can't just be me that's doing great, having money, earning the most in the house or whatnot. It's like, I can't have that. I can't have it just be me. I can't have there be a disparity between me and the people around me. Like, there's something that I heard the other day, and it's like, look at the fruit this tree bears. So and this was like, let's talk about Kanye. It's like, Kanye has Don C, he has Virgil Abloh, he has what's his name again, that jigger that's name I always forget, the guy from Fear of God, yeah, Salehi Bembury. Like, he's a trainer designer and stuff. He worked for Yeezy first, like, and that's the fruit of Kanye's tree. And let's think about that, Kanye's influence, because we're artists at the end of the day, so you have to think about the influence. It's like, you got Chance the Rapper, you got Drake, you've got Kendrick Lamar, like all of these introspective artists that think about the society around them and what they're talking about. So it's like that, and so that's just the care. So if I'm doing this work to the best of my ability, and my care is high and whatnot, and my philosophy, like, just on my personal philosophy, because maybe because I'm an artist, but mostly because this is just the way that I am. It's like, if everything around me is just on point, then I can be confident that everybody around me can be on point as well, and I can be confident to say, look, my team is A1. Like, we're not do, like, even if the job is fun, like, we don't do it for just the fun sake. We do it because we know we're the best at this. That's like that's always been like just my personal aspect of the world. It's like, I have to be able to be the best. I have to, yeah. We had a weird for one podcast where I was just like, I was just thinking about being the best, and like just like, that's just like, I've just had this almost hypnotic statement, understanding like, I have to keep performing, at least perform, like, not just performing, but like, and not just churning out content needlessly, but having the best possible content out there. And just creating the most. And, well, not creating the most, but creating the best. And if that means in quantity and everything like that, the quality will be high and A1 regardless. That's why, like, that's, and
But you're saying that when it comes to your tribe, you want to ensure that first, I guess, because with what you were saying is you want to make sure you're doing the most that you are doing as you would like your tribe to be. That's it. You are doing as you wish the people in your tribe to move and operate. And
damn, I wish I said that. Damn, we're on a 10-minute run.
I said layman's, bro. No, no, it's cool. But it's interesting because we always talk about this. Like when you don't have a certain way of thinking or philosophy in place, it can get that it can become a thing where the people that you are doing these things with aren't in sync. People aren't in sync. People are doing things or making moves or discussing things, or you know what I mean. So when you do work on something with someone, you have two completely different ideas of what it is that you're trying to do.
That scares me so much. It's like, and the thing is, it's not even. It's like when we're talking about the end result and you have two completely different ideas, then and just saying the exact same thing, but you're imagining
two different things.
Two existences. It's like it will just and I know that the way I think, it's 0.01%. It's like a lot of people will think when they're artists and stuff and they want to make things, it's about making money and having fun,
being sick, being viewed as the guy.
No, people don't think that. People think about making money, and they don't care about being the best and doing the best work. I know that now as a fact. It's like they care about making money and having a lot of fun with it.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think there's an element of wanting to be like, oh, he's sick. Like, you know, and he does this and he does that, because that comes along with the money.
No, wait.
Okay, who are we talking? Okay, who are you talking about? Because I'm just talking about
general public. Talking about me knowing the other artists in my life, me knowing everybody else, and me just seeing other artists and when they speak about blowing and
that's what blowing is being that guy's sick.
No, it's not even just that guy's sick. It's making a lot of money. A lot of people don't even want to have the fame,
but money.
So it's like they want the money.
Well, they don't actually want the money. They don't actually want the fame. Sorry, so they think they do. They want it as a whole, because they look at that and they go I want to be like that.
The fame comes with the money because journalists are allowed to do whatever they feel like. So the fame is going to come with the money. Well, the acclaim, let's not call it fame. The acclaim is going to come with the money regardless, because you're an artist and a lot of people are buying into you. So let's figure out whether this person's personal philosophy is something that you want other people to buy into. And that's just the charge that people take. Or that's what you call journalistic integrity. It's understanding a person and showing that person for who they are. And I know that me wanting the best writing, right, and me caring about musicality so much so that I wouldn't make music because I don't understand how to write sheet music or something, or I have to learn how to play an instrument, or all of these just things that no artist thinks about, minimum percent of artists think about. So because I care about those things, and because I care about music so much in that aspect, or even just understanding history, and not saying you have to understand the whole history of music, but when I was going to classical and was listening to jazz, just on those two, just understanding how are you going to grow this, because it's not a genre anymore. It's even more than that. It's like the ultimate influence. It's it's like when you're making art, it's just like the ultimate, like it's the ultimate mind changer. So it's like, how am I going to use my art to be the best, or to have the best possible impact and pose the best possible things into the world? And a lot of people talk about having fun, going to parties, doing drugs, or like just random things, heartbreak. And are you trying to write the best heartbreak song, or is it because that sad songs are in, that is why you write sad songs? And that is my personal view. It's like, okay, are you really sad? Like, do you want to be sad just like Amy Winehouse and Adele, so that you have that image of that's what an artist sings like? Are you doing drugs so that you can talk about your drug experience? Are you smoking weed because that's what artists do, they smoke weed? Like, are you like, why are you doing the things that you're doing? And like, that's me being super self-critical and figuring out, like, it's like a lot, like, you know how a lot of people drink, right? And it's like they drink because they don't like the way that they're feeling, or even they drink because that is just what you do. Like, when you're feeling emotional, you drink or whatnot. Like,
sounds like an alcoholic.
But that's what a lot of people do, and it's like, and me, it's like I totally move away from that, and like I heavily go into it. So like, if I'm feeling sad in any way, one thing that I can say when I used to drink a lot or party a lot is like, if I was sad, I wasn't going out. If I had to do a lot of work, and
see, that's what I
really cared
that's
about
what
work.
I default to. I'm the exact same. That's what I default to. Like now, like before, back in the day, it was more of a, whenever I'd go out, it was always a fun, like, it was always because what was going on, what was out there, it was girls, it was being with your boys, doing some just mad shit, just, you know, being free. It wasn't necessarily to get away from anything, because like for me, I've had there's like just been people around me who have struggled with addiction, and it's like, it's so strange. Like, even with smoking, like I have smoked, or I might have one here or there, but I've never got addicted to things like that. And same with alcohol. Like, I've never been a big drinker, bro. Like, even with drugs, like I've tried some here, there, like that's it. Like, I haven't got that kind of personality, but I understand, like, some people do really struggle with that, and it's interesting how I've had it so much around me, like just from every people from within my family, my friends who have struggled with that. It's crazy how that's never happened to me, but it's interesting. It's interesting.
Yeah, I feel like, just like, because if like from even apart from coffee now, because that's the one thing that I'm most addicted to, that's like really annoyed me, that I have to like, that I drink coffee a lot. Well, not a lot. I drink one a day or two a day, maybe maximum. But it's like, or tea. But it's like, I look at it as an addiction because I just do it every day. And it does, and you know, you can say the same for work. Like, you can call me a workaholic as well. But me being a workaholic now, I'm not. It's not detrimental to my.
That's
health.
what I'm saying. It's like, even with what would you class as an addiction? Would you class as an addiction as? Because I would class
addiction as a compulsion.
As a compulsion that you can't stop. Because
it's a compulsion. I can't stop working hard. Like, I have, and that compulsion can turn bad, because I used to go to hospital because I was working a lot in it. So
I guess so.
So yeah, it's like I had to understand, okay, so these are my bounds and this is how I work. So I had to understand the best performance in that, and from that I learned I still work harder than 99% of people. So like, and then I grew, or should I say I'm growing comfortable in that. So yeah, like, it's just me being me, and this is a very introspective conversation about just yourself and how you act in the world. But bringing it more to other people, it's when I think about going outside and like, because like people say you are who you attract, but I haven't seen a lot of that. I haven't seen me attracting a lot of people that I am, because I'm always the most hardworking, or the one that reads the most, or like maybe I'm just like the maximum like imagination of a weirdo, whereby
when they say like, it's not necessarily in terms of capacity, it's just in terms of interest. I
don't even attract people that have the same interests as me. I barely attract people that have the same interests as me. Like there's like well, it's rare to find somebody like me and one person can have an like a 30% interaction level, so, or a 20% interaction level, whereby it's like I have their whole interest is 20% of my interest. And that's usually enough for me to start a conversation and me to have like a normal relationship. But it's like where it's like I have not met someone that's like 70 or 90 of like, not like, you know, when those numbers just exceed, and it's like this person has to be your friend because you just think the same and stuff like that. And it's like maybe 2 or 3 people that are like,
yeah,
one like near enough 100%, where it's like we have to be friends.
Yeah, I'd say I'm the same. I've had it when I was younger, but I think as I've grown up, it's like kind of it's changed, and like where I'm at right now, I think it's harder as you get older. And this is kind of what I was saying before, is like as you get older, it's even harder to find friends like that because you have more of a solid idea of who you are.
But I know a lot of people that are just like, all they want to do, like, because I think maybe it's because I do have a personal philosophy so early, and I do have a world philosophy so early, and I do have an economic philosophy so early, that it's like I have exact amounts. So like people, like a lot of people our age are just doing things, innit? It's like they're doing this thing over there, they're trying to make money, they don't understand how to make money. Well, the people that are artists, I should say. The people that I know who are artists don't know how to make money. They don't know how to sell a product. They don't know how to manage other artists to sell a product. And I like and that is, I don't know whether it's good or bad, but it's just like artists just don't know how to make money, and that's just normal, innit? But artists have influence. They have power in influence, right? So wait, what was I saying, fam? I lost my. We was
talking about making friends, and it's harder as you get older. And you were saying about you've got a personal philosophy early.
Oh yeah, maybe it's because of all of that stuff. It's like because I don't know any. I don't know. Do I not know any? I know artists that want to make money, but I don't know artists that have an economic philosophy. I don't know how artists think about taxes. Like, do you think about 50% of what you earn, like near 70% of what you earn goes to the government beyond a certain amount? Do you have those understanding of those figures in your mind? Like, are you creating? Do you have the right people around you to even like have a stable
infrastructure? Yeah.
Just have a stable solo career, because at the end of the day it's a career, and you have to find people to be around, and it's like you have to understand that it's like you need people that want to help you, and do you have those people skills? Like, and yeah, like I just think about that, and it's like me, like as an artist, I know that I can do it myself, but I don't need to I don't want to do it myself. I can do everything myself. That's cool. That's cute. Like, that is the cutest thing ever. It's like being able to do it yourself, right? And it's like, and people think of it as a massive hurrah, but it's like it's not.
It's not that great. Yeah.
It's like, you know,
because things can always be done better, easier, and with more fun and with more meaning when there's more people in there, isn't it?
Yeah. It's like,
yeah, crazy, man. I think, yeah.
Yeah, it's like building, like, yeah, like I said, like, it's having the right partners around you, and who do you want around you, innit?
Do you think they don't have to be similar to you at all, do they? In fact, the more different you are, but I still be able to relate, the better it is.
They have to have the right philosophy to be around me. So it's like, do you want to make money from me, or do you want us to make money together from the world?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like we have to understand that your money doesn't come from me. It doesn't come from me paying you. It comes from the world. So we go out and get it together. So you have to come with ideas. You have to come with creativity. You have to come with ingenuity. You have to come with all of these things before you even strike the conversation of like money. So you have to you have to know how to make your own money by yourself, but you just need a product, and that product is your eyes. And with that, okay, these are the type of ideas that I can do with this artist or this you look at the artist as a product, and it's like, okay, they make this type of thing, so we can go to this and this station and go to these venues that like artists that look like that, and these meetups and stuff, and just having that understanding. It's like, you don't need to always do a gig, you just have to always be in the right place at the right So it's not all up, because 90% of being an artist, it ain't about the music, it's about who you are and why you're out here in the first place. So it's like that. Well, that's about management, and that's my management philosophy.
You say that, but that's when you're saying, because I remember wasn't last episode, it was the episode before, like an artist. Well, you were saying when you decide to work with an artist, that artist has got to just be an artist. They've got to be willing to be an artist and work with me on the vision that I've formulated.
Yeah.
So when you say that, you mean it's kind of like just put your heart and soul into what you do.
Yeah, you have to be able to make, and you have to be able to create, and you have to know that you're an everything.
But that's not to say. What do you mean by that?
Like you make content. Like
you're an everything.
Yeah, you're a writer. You're able to produce your own sound. You have to be able to know what your things are. You have to be able to know, okay, you have to speak a right way. You have to care that you're creative, or if you're an artist, you know that you can pretty much do anything. You can, but your vehicle or the tip of your spear is music. And in that, because it doesn't need to be a musician, it can be a writer. And in that same regard, it's like, what type of music would you play at your event if you're a writer? And those type of things. So you have to care about, okay, so who would you be working with? And it's like, those people don't need to be your friends, they just want to be able to work with you. So you have to be personable, right? And you have to have your personality out there so that people know that they can come to you. So yeah, it's like I've got an okay management style, and it's worked on me, and it can work on other people.
So how does that, as you're saying, being an artist, how does that separate from the aspects of management that are, obviously you've got the solid things like being able to understand how to go about booking shows, booking tours, and getting, as you're saying, getting yourself to the right places, the events, the spaces on the festival circuits, the collaborations that you're doing, and doing those things in the right way. Like, how does that separate from the philosophy of being an artist, and how you bring and the way you as the artist are involved in those aspects? Well, like, what do you think is that, in your mind, philosophically, what is the best approach for an artist to be involved in that?
Well, are those two different questions now? I feel like that was two different questions now. Wait. So me.
Well, yeah, okay. For however you've seen it. Yeah.
How does that separate from being an
right?
artist?
Okay. My essential question is: So an artist, like you say, you want the artist to just be an artist.
Yeah.
But their involvement in the sides of management, there's sort of lines where as an artist, you want to have like how much control you have over those aspects seeps into your artistry. So philosophically, where are you saying you drawing the line as manager?
Yeah, you have to be able to trust your management. You have to be able to trust your management. You can't micromanage yourself. If you're able to manage yourself, then you'd manage yourself, right? And you wouldn't even
need one.
But the thing is, you can't manage yourself. End of the day, unless you just want all the money for yourself, and it's not about really it's not really about having the best career. It's about making the most money by yourself. And you know, a lot of artists, like there's artists that do that say they're their own management. There's a lot of people out there that even say they're their own management, but it's like being your own management is just inefficient mostly. Like just on a pure economic basis, because being a manager is about economics. It's about understanding how can you maximize this artist's profits. It's not about having the best philosophy or having the best influence. It's like staying out of the artist's way, let them create their content, their everything, and you focus on putting this artist through the right channel so that you can stir up the pot so that they can be their best selves and be in the best right place at the right time. Then it's like, if you want to say, oh, you want to be here, you want to be there, but it's like let's say you've got a okay artist, maybe 60,000 followers or something like that, and they say, oh, I want to be on the Breakfast Club. Like, that is not your level yet, love. It's like, you can't just be on the Breakfast Club. Or you want to talk to Chucky Online, a more local example. It's like, or you want to go on the For the Culture podcast. It's like, those aren't your channels, fam. It's like or if you're a singer and you're talking about being around grime artists, or going to an Eskimo dance, or going to a radio set, it's like, you gotta think, how
are you relating? Like, is there context there for that to actually work?
Does that,
because it's not sense? that can't be the case.
Like, you can do that,
but how does it fit? Is that actually adding to? Is it part? Not about adding. Is it part of your story?
Yeah, that time management is terrible. Like, thinking about there's this one thing that Patrick Bet-David said. It's like, a real grandmaster knows about 14 moves ahead in chess, innit? It's like it's like 11 to 15 moves ahead, innit? And it's like, some people want to do move 14 at move 2, and then it collapses. It's like, you know, people that want to shoot for the moon and do the most. Like, they want to be like, I'm changing my whole thing and they're reared up, they're geared up, and then on the third day they flop. And that's because you emotionally was not ready to do that much work. You gotta be emotionally ready to do that much work.
How would you be emotionally ready though? Like, well, because when you say, because that gets into a topic, into a discussion about, like, okay, so you've got to have your goal in mind, and you've got to perceive and have the confidence that you can do as much as possible. But then you need to know what.
Okay, let me.
Is it okay? Let me.
This is the reason why I did my book. This is the reason. Like, I wrote about 3 or 4 books before the book that I released. At least, like, just in number of words concentrated that I have wrote to be for the public. Like, I've wrote at least 3 or 4 of them, maybe in the past year, but before then, I've wrote stories after stories after stories of, like, thousands of words talking about emotions, thoughts, and all of these things. And I have many books that journal experience, right? So if I've got many books that journal experience, along with the organized knowledge of writing essays and dissertations, then me being able to write a book is all right. Like I have learned, um, I've learned 3D design, and I learned that for years before I done the cover of my book.
Mhm.
It's like I knew what I needed to do. Like I can't suddenly open a program and say I want to create that product, that cover, without having done bare things prior to that. Like I needed to do work. I needed to learn. Remember when I was talking about all the things, like just learning performance. Like when we talk about performance, like a lot of people talk about it in sports, but when we're talking about working as an artist, it's like I've done 30-day challenges, 90-day challenges, all of these things, like just putting out work for the past 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
Of like maybe even just drawings, but just understanding I can do this much work in this much time.
Mm-hmm.
And before I done my book release, which was like a 20-day span or whatnot, or even Prime Night, like that I'm doing right now still, it's like I've done things like this before. I've done it before, and if I said I wanted to do this, everything that I've done this year, 4 years ago, it'd be a flop. It'd 100% be a flop.
Mm-hmm.
Because I didn't have the emotional wherewithal to handle everything that I would be doing this year. I needed that preparation for all of those things that I did before. I couldn't just leave uni and say I want to write a book about this and that. That would have flopped. That wouldn't have been good for nobody. That wouldn't have had the right essence at all. So I had to understand myself and make sure that, before I start even saying things as an artist and putting stuff into the world, can I understand myself first? And because I understood all of that stuff, then I was able to give of myself. And now I'm able to constantly give of myself. Like, I haven't slowed down once this year. Now this year's as a testament to like be able to organize more thoughts and challenge myself more for, I don't know, for next year and the year after, and just creating better product. But to even think that I could, or I would attempt to do this prior, it would have been a laugh. Like I'd have put myself in the crosshairs of danger. So it's like when you're an artist and saying, I want to do this and I want to do that. Like imagine you haven't performed in front of 50 people, but
you try to go on stage in front of 1,000. It's
gonna be ridiculous for you. Like yeah, you haven't put in no work for that. Like there are some anomalies in the world that don't even map on the graph. So you don't count people that don't map. But when you know it's not like 100% I could have made that book cover 4 years ago, but that's as far as it goes.
Because that's the work you'd put in for that aspect.
Yeah.
Do you know what? Yeah, because I put in the chat as well, state of mind and the grind and strengths and weaknesses.
Go on then.
So I think this is a good point to talk about this. It's so interesting because I think that's one thing I've always tackled with, and I think in society and in the way people post on Instagram, like with their memes and their quotes and all this stuff, there's this thing of like, go hard, dream big, do all this stuff, and though that is one part of the whole story, it's kind of like, it's true what you're saying, and it's something that I'm learning and going through right now, is about actually, it's cool for you to be able to say you can do this big idea and thing, but can you actually do it? And going down to the first steps of what you're doing, can you, for example, writing a story, can you do the first chapter? Can you create that first storyline? Can you make something? Can you make the first part of that thing that you want to do as a whole? Can you make that first song? Can you make that first art piece that speaks to what it is that you're trying to do. And do you have confidence you can recreate that thing?
Exactly.
And it's like, it's having the strength of mind. This is what I've been going through, to like sort of humble yourself.
Yeah, fam.
Realize that you may not be able to gloat and boast and feel that you're king of the hill or whatever, and you can't, you're not going to be able to do all that and feel like you're doing this big massive thing necessarily. But what will actually happen is you'll have an understanding of what it is you're doing.
It's like the sophomore slump or the second single.
That's when it all goes. Yeah,
it's
that's
like,
when it goes wrong.
It's like, yeah, like everybody.
And you think
that's why I was saying like about artists wanting to hit a lick. Like they're not thinking about how much, like the amount of work that they're putting out. Is it equaling exactly what you want to put out there?
I get what you mean when you say they don't want to necessarily be the guy, because if they wanted to be the guy, they would understand there's more that goes into that. Like, but that's what. But I say, when I say they want to be the guy, I don't mean like they want to be the actual guy. I'm talking about they want to be perceived as the guy.
Okay,
you get what I'm saying?
Yeah. Now I get.
Like
now I get that.
When they don't actually want to be that person. They look at that and go, this person does this, has this, does this. So I've got to exactly. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
it's the perception.
They want their perception to be like just madder than everything that they are. Like.
But that's why everything is like, and right now I realize how I feel now is everything's like a little decision. Like every step that you're going through when you're in like places at that very sort of formative stage of your creations or your ideas or just life in general, when you're at this formative stage. And it's so weird because like, and this is a problem that I've faced with everything I've made. I've gone through that exact thing. I've seen these things. I've got this vibe and this idea in my head of exactly this sick thing I want to create. But instead of going back and making the rudimentary version of this idea, or just stripping it back to the basics and actually understand that thing. Like I remember, do you know how many comics? Here's a prime example. When I was in year 9, I started making my own comic books, right? And the amount, I've probably had 5 massive, huge, big ideas that I've started created, and I probably got to like the 10th page and stopped because of how big I imagined these things to be. I'd created these whole worlds, these whole ideas. I designed different characters. And
definitely,
instead of going, do you know what? I'm going to make a 10-page chapter.
Yeah. Like
a pilot and make that as best as I possibly can. Instead of doing that, I'm like, I want to have 5 chapters. I want to have... You get what I'm saying? Like, open it up. I've got all these characters. I've got these overarching storylines. And it's so crazy how... It's actually commendable how creative I was, because I did, at that age, I was thinking of different storylines, like how these characters... how their arcs clashed, what these... you know what I'm saying? Like, and... But the biggest problem was, and it perpetuated even till today, is that
the performance aspect.
You get what I'm saying? Like the stripped down version of of truly humbling yourself and making it about the idea and what you're offering and what you're actually trying to understand that thing, as opposed to just creating the thing so it can be good. What you're actually trying to do. It's the whole perception thing, isn't it?
Yeah, like yeah, I can't really. Yeah,
it's mad. Yes, it's mad.
We know that. What's up there? Oh no.
Should we? Well, we're at 35. Well, yeah, I guess we didn't do that last segment. No, that's fine, man. That's fine. Yeah, cool. Thanks for listening once again. That's episode 18 of the Culture and Camaraderie podcast with your boy Tiberius and
NY Typical.
Yeah, LAX_ERA for your production needs.
That's how sick I am at Brandon. Anyways, peace, blessings, and salutations, bro.
Love. Oh yeah, 28th of November.
This has been the Culture and Camaraderie podcast. Podcast. Podcast.